have fun. This is my
Exciting.
guy right here.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are. I remember when I interviewed you. You got the job because I was like, oh, well, like we both talked about working out. I could tell that you were into working out, and I said, I still work out at my age, and you were like, you look pretty good for your age. And I was like, damn, I'm hiring this guy.
Yeah.
This guy's already complimenting me. But we connected really early on fitness, right? You're our go-to fitness dude around here.
Yeah.
And me being a former personal trainer, you and I always have a lot of conversations about off topic that have nothing to do with mortgages. And today I'm super happy to have Marshall on the show.
Yes, our
to
mortgage
be here.
agent / nutrition specialist
Yeah,
/ fitness
right.
coach.
Yeah.
Answers all of the nutrition questions for the staff after this episode for your clients.
Yeah.
Anyone watching?
And we were talking today off camera about your journey into fitness, which I know this is about. Well, we don't talk about mortgages anyway on this one. We're more get to know you as an agent and a person. What drew you to working out? What was the catalyst that you were like, yeah, I'm going to start picking up weights?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to sound a little bit corny, but, growing up, I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z, and I was like, man, these guys are stacked
little
on
corny.
here. These guys are stacked on here. I was like, I want to look like that. And, I started off doing boxing. I did that for a few years. I wanted to compete, and then my mother was against doing that, obviously, too many punches in the head. And so I got into weightlifting and put on like some pretty good size immediately. And I was like, wow, this is for me. So once I started growing, I started researching about, vitamins and minerals, what they do on the body. And it became a little bit of an obsession for me. It never went away.
You have an interesting, we talked about this too off camera, an interesting start to your professional life, how you entered the workforce. Can you run us through what that moment was like?
Yeah.
'Cause I know it left an impact on you.
Yeah. I mean, my family was a big believer on once you turn 18, you just, go out into the world and, sink or swim. So, once I left home, I kind of moved out to Saskatoon, was there for a few years, did a lot of drywalling, just like delivering the drywall. So that was pretty extensive in the cold. And then I learned fast that, money was important and it's best to save a nickel and dime. And so I understand the struggle of, trying to get your life in order, which, a lot of the clients that come here, they need a little bit of relatability to the people they're working with. So I can kind of understand, where they're coming from. Life gets difficult, throws you curveballs and stuff. And then, I kind of just worked my way up from there. I was kind of bounced around different provinces, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then inevitably I ended up in Ontario. I actually moved here 7 years ago with a bag of clothes, started doing door-to-door sales, and then I kind of worked my way into doing mortgages and, lucky to be here. Yeah.
Let's rewind that. Door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
So your guy shows up in a new province. You'd never been here before?
No, I don't know one here.
You got a bag of clothes and you take door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
First of all, as a born and raised salesperson, my family, I remember telling my dad I was never going to be in sales, and I was sitting in a chair at the kitchen table, and he's like, everything in here is sales.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone sold the drawings for that chair for someone to make it. Someone sold them the wood.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it, son, so you should embrace it. But you land in a new province, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
And you're
intense,
doing
man.
door to door.
Yeah.
That's a tough grind. You got to learn some things though, doing that type of business, right?
Yeah, it was a good experience. Door-to-door sales is, as everyone that's in sales knows, it's the hardest. It's the hardest sales industry to be in. And, luckily I was able to do that for quite some time, and, being good with people and, being able to connect to people on a, personal level definitely goes a long way. But, I think two of the most important things of life is to understand psychology and understanding people and knowing how to save financial literacy and psychology and being able to be a likable person and relatable. That goes a long way.
Stuff they don't teach you how to do that in school, right? And door-to-door sales, you learn real quick that you know, how many doors are slammed in your face, right?
Yeah.
You know, you used to say to me when you first got here, it's all a numbers game. And I used to say to you, yeah, not here. Like it's different, right? We want to, no, because you had that door to door, you have to knock on. Look, I did door to door sales for 25 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I answered an ad, got a job doing sports promotion. I was super excited about it. I show up at this random warehouse, get in a van, which was already, I shouldn't have gotten a van that easily.
The white van.
I get in a van. They drive me miles away from my car. And they're like, oh, I'm like, what? I finally said at that time at like 17, hey, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Oh, you're selling pizza coupons door to door for the Argos. And I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yeah, no, you are.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, you kind of get into those environments where they know it's already a hard job. You have to learn on your feet. They don't give you a lot of training. They tell you a little bit about the products. And then each door, this is what I love about your background story. Okay, each door is a different personality that you interrupted.
Yeah, no kidding. They're watching TV. They're hanging out on the couch eating some
Eating dinner.
cheesies.
Never asked for you to show up.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's one of the reasons why we have stricter laws on it now.
Yeah.
But like you can't get that in a sales book.
Yeah.
Right? You literally annoyed somebody who, you knock on my door, all the kids go before I get there.
Yeah.
Like the youngest one now has learned to open the door, right?
Yeah.
Like, stop.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with this person. And you had to do that over and over again, not because, I don't even think because you wanted to.
Yeah.
You had to survive.
Yeah, there's no choice, burn the boats kind of a thing.
Right? You're in a new province. You got nothing but a bag of clothes. So I commend you that you took that. Even if you look back now and you were trying to find your way or find, soul search or find what was the right fit for you. You're in BC too, right? You did BC.
Yeah. Alberta. Saskatchewan.
And Ontario's where you stopped.
And now here I am. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you stopped here, brother.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it worked out.
So during the door-to-door process and long before you got here with us, what made you get your license? Why did you jump into mortgages?
So yeah, it was door-to-door sales. So we started off doing like all the furnaces, the air conditioners, and then later on learning that those contracts weren't all that good for the homeowners. We got into litigation consulting, trying to help them get out of those contracts, which was not very successful. So we got into trying to consolidate all debt, and then we started getting into renovations. And then for that, we partnered up with a mortgage broker. And I kind of want to get out of the industry and try something new. So I met the guy, and I'm like, that's just something I could do. So I got into it, took the course, and I joined one brokerage before here, and they just didn't provide as much hands-on training, helping the agents. And so I did that for 7-8 months. And, as we know, your good friend Jason there was the team leader, and I told him where I was planning on going, and I ended up coming here, and it worked out.
That was interesting because who we both knew mutually, I had the interview. I remember texting him on a Friday being like, oh, I love this.
Yeah.
I love this guy. I want this guy on my team. And he was like, yeah, I don't know, like if he'd be a good fit for you. He's a good guy. Try it out. And I was like, no, I think you're wrong, man. I think this guy, this is his place. Yeah. And I remember when you got here and you hit the floor, and I don't know if you remember this, right? It was like instant success.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember.
Right? 8 deals right away. Yeah. And you'd be like, when are you guys going to do 8?
I actually remember that comment.
Right?
Very vividly.
I remember too, because I heard, I'm like, man, this guy's gonna really, really, really light it on fire. Like he is just instantly. And I remember texting Jason at that time, being like, oh man, he found his home. Like this is where he's gonna flourish. But it didn't last. It didn't stay that way. Right?
Yeah.
And you had a dip, and I always call it knowledge disease. You start to learn more about products, and I'm not going to say, you can tell me what you think it was, where you're meeting clients, talking to them, your door-to-door skills are there, you're making relationships, and then you start to get more into buried into the process, into the products. What was it for you that kind of brought that dip on for you then to rebound? Have you ever even thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, when I first joined, the market was fairly hot. A lot of the clients had a lot of equity. You know, this COVID, property values were overinflated, and everyone, you know, kind of just wanted to cash out on their equity.
That's true.
And you know, there was a lot of spending going on there. And then as interest rates started to come up, I feel like a lot of the clients kind of became a little bit more hesitant on touching the equity of their home, and you know, being fearful of what's going to happen next. So personally, that's kind of what it felt like for me. Plus in sales as well, you know, you come in, it's a new industry, or, you know, a new brokerage. For me, it's very exciting. And that transfers onto the clients that you're talking to. They can hear the excitement, you're enthusiastic. And then I feel like after a couple of months with the knowledge and everything and the way the market was going, maybe not as much of the excitement was being portrayed. And just little tweaks and changes in the process. You know, we're changing systems and going from, you know, a couple different presentation devices for clients.
Yeah, that's true, right? We did a lot of changes and a lot of, I get tagged for that all the time, that I just am addicted to change.
Yeah. And so, you know, for a while there, I was sending like a pre-recorded presentation to the clients, kind of going over their, you know, their details of the finances and the options that are available. Turns out that in person was being better. And so, you know, it's kind of along the journey that we learn what works for us. What might work for me might not work better for someone else, and vice versa. And so, you know, we've kind of gotten over that hurdle at this point.
So you you meet me in an interview. You still did the group interviews then, right? That was
It was me, you, Mark, and Ali. Ali forgot about it, but
we did it. Yeah, we did it. He was
yeah,
you're
there.
Oh.
Yeah, because Mark
like
made
the
a comment about his
320th.
stature and his muscles, and I was like, "Yeah, that's cool. I'm fine with that." Right? Like he's big. I'm like,
The
"Yeah,
Hulk.
that's fine. That's okay. I'm not afraid of him."
Yeah.
Slightly.
I am
He looks
today.
smaller
I'm
on the
terrified.
camera.
That's why we're having this podcast, because he told me I had to. No. If you get in here and you've been here, now you're part of the fabric. You're in the process. You get Google reviews. You have rolled with the 2 o'clocks, the punches. You've grown personally.
Yeah.
But if an outside agent said to you like, "Oh, what is it about Nuborrow that's so special? Why are you there? Why are you still there? What, you were at another brokerage?" What do you tell them, or what would come to your mind?
You know, the most important part of being in any industry is having a solid support network, you know, and mentors and people that are able to help you hands-on. And with Nuborrow here, you know, it's a pretty integrated system that we have. It's, you know, much like a family I've found for myself here. So being out in Ontario and not having a lot of family and support networks, this is, you know, part and parcel of home for me. So that's why.
I think one of your low-key superpowers that people don't know until you reach out to them is your kindness.
Yeah. You'd never guess.
For the other team members. I don't mean that you come across like you're unkind. I just mean that you do a lot of sneaky kind things without needing to be acknowledged or it being known. You don't grandstand about it. And I think that that's a kind of unique thing about you that where's that come from?
I think that comes from BC, Brent, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up on Vancouver Island in a little bit of a smaller town, people were like a lot more connected. And it's unfortunate to see it, but when you move into bigger cities, I feel like a lot of people are kind of like, well, why are you doing this? Like, what are you getting in return? You know? And what I'm getting in return is it makes me feel good. You know,
Right.
I'm selfish.
Like I know that a team member was sick and you took the time out of your day to go and get some supplement-based stuff to heal them and just drop it off unexpectedly. And the person told me that and I was like, wow, that's Nuborrow. Like that's what I want in my teammate, to be able to deliver that to someone here in the community. But that translates to you delivering that to clients and caring a lot about clients and what they need. And if you're willing to do that without being asked and you just do it out of the kindness of your heart, we have a lot of kindness messages around here, then that, you know, that's what Nuborrow is. It's a fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the amount of, and we had you have an interesting case now. We won't talk about that you're working on, but you know, you've touched a lot of unique situations working here.
Yeah.
Right? That we have enough podcast material for some of the wild things that happen.
Stories.
Yeah.
But what about some special moments or some wild stories from clients that come to your mind?
Well, I have one in particular. This one holds the cake. I worked on the file for about 6 months. They were in a power of sale. Sheriffs came. They changed the locks. Sending me photos of themselves in the vehicle with the family. They got medication in the side, and it's a stressful scenario. And if you don't have like your life together and your hands on the steering wheel, I might not be able to manage that.
Yeah.
So I worked on that file for about 6 months, and I handled it very well. I was very calm because I knew we were going to be able to get the task completed. But I don't think that would have played out the way it had if it had been any other brokerage.
Or any other agent. I think you need to give yourself credit where it's due, simply because your client looked for you for that comfort and element of like trust.
Yeah.
Because at that particular point, it'd be really tough for anyone, no matter how mentally strong you are, to think that things will be okay.
Yeah.
While you're sitting in your car waiting on Marshal that's 3 hours away, because you've reassured them on countless occasions over 6 months that you have been able to pull through and do that for them. And that just speaks to the testament of the kind of person you are and the kind of agent you are.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it's a task that probably very few agents would be able to successfully pull off.
I agree, yeah. I often come off fairly calm, but in those scenarios, like, that calmness pays off. The client can hear the calmness in your voice. If you're panicking and stuff and you're worried, all you're going to do is transition that onto the client. They've come to you because they're in need of some assistance, and they want to make sure that you're going to be able to get the task done. And which we did. They got to keep.
I think that's key. I know this client. I know who you're talking about, and I can remember when you're coming in, and I'd be like, if it's about this client, and you're like, hey, I have to keep doing this. They're home, and I'm like, I know. I'm just messing with you. I know exactly what you're going to ask me. I know this is a client. You're still doing other deals, yet you're still not the average agent. Not here.
Yeah.
As I would flip.
Yeah.
But we hold each other accountable. But most people, who's going to work 6 months on a file with zero without being paid?
Yeah, no one.
Right? You did that strictly out of your kindness and knowing that they had. If you dropped the ball, if you just said, okay, like, this has been 3 months, it's not working. I'm not helping you anymore. There's nothing, and sadly in this world, nothing in it for me.
Yeah.
I got to start the process over again, right?
Yeah.
They've got that's what I used to always look at when I would do files myself and they're a power sale, and someone would say, oh, you're not going to get this deal done. Just stop working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I stop working on it, and I know the process of calling other brokerages, getting started again, doing this, doing that, this person's never going to be in the home, never. And I think that's one thing that people don't, when they get into those situations, don't realize that when you're out, it's not over.
Yeah.
If you have the right team and the right person that's still willing to do. Lots of times I look at you guys and the things that you're doing. I remember when I was an agent and I'm thinking to myself, man, the level of care you still have, that deal took Herculean effort.
Yeah.
One deal you cared about even when the signs were like, you have to stop caring, right? And you just kept, but there's a way. And it happens every month here where there's a deal that doesn't make sense or there's no way it's going to get done, and we still find a way to get it done. And that's you guys.
Yeah.
I'm not the one doing it.
Yeah. And there's people along the way too that also try to give up, right? We're working as a team collectively. We have lenders, we have lawyers. So the level of frustration that they experience is equivalent to ours. But it takes a person like yourself to say, hey, listen, I understand it's frustrating, but let's keep working together for this client, and advocating for our client goes a long way. Because there's a lot of people in that 6 months that pulled shoot on you many times, or pulled shoot on this whole file in itself. So that just speaks to, again, that extra level of effort and care that our team gives, and you specifically have given to many clients in your career here.
I think one of my favorites is when you have a client, you deliver the truth, doesn't go the way they want it to, doesn't work out. I ask you about it and you're like, nope, client's gone. And then a month later, right, you come in with that smile right there.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're back.
Yeah.
Right? And they took what you told them, they took the truth, they didn't like it, they're maybe a bit upset. They go and do their own research, or they go and talk to another brokerage. They realize that that's what's happening, or the promises didn't pan out, and they come back to you. That's got to be a special moment.
It's always a lovely feeling. I mean, a lot of the brokerages in the industry nowadays, especially, is that there's not a lot of brokerages that have everyone in office. And so when a client comes to us and we have a complex file on our hands, we got 30 minds in here that are, you can go around asking people, like, what should we do on the file?
Yeah, that's key.
So you go anywhere else and, like, they're not going to have that. And if they do have that, it's not going to be as fast and quick as we're going to be able to have things done here, right?
Yeah. I think that's a huge advantage that you get when you work with one person on this team. You get 29 other minds who at any given moment will give a suggestion, or it's really hard because they'll say on a Google review, Marshall was amazing. And I usually remove your name when I answer the reviews, because not because I don't want you to get the credit. It's that if we listed off all the people that actually helped on a file to get it done all the way to completion, or my favorite is when you come into the management office with a red hot problem. It looks like it's all hope is lost. And, in that room, someone's like, oh, why don't you do this? You can actually solve it by, you're like, all right,
done.
Still alive.
Yeah.
And you go back and we don't give up. And I think that Google review, when you finally get it, is a testament to, like you said, all the different minds that are available to you as an agent. Don't you think that's the toughest thing about when you start here, is learning that you can, or you go and ask every mind possible, right, Rico? And then you get confused, right? It's a good thing and a bad thing all at the same time.
And I think that's where, like, judgment comes in and experience comes in, and really understanding your clients. So because you've listened to many other clients' files and people working on files, sometimes you can almost make an educated decision based on another agent's experience. So it's like, oh, I remember we talked about a similar file, and then there's less questions to be asked, but you also kind of know what source could be used to benefit, saying, hey, didn't you work with a client like 6 months ago that was similar? And you'll remember those things, and that builds also agent knowledge, is just learning off of everyone else that's kind of in the office working on similar files.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to wrap it up with something that I'm proud of you, because you just said in this podcast, you showed up with a bag of clothes and you made something of yourself. You bet on yourself. But you also have a big moment coming up for you personally. You're going to be closing on your first property.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So from a guy with a bag of clothes, and you put trust in Nuborrow, put trust in me. Actually, I remember you asking me one day outside, we had a face-to-face, and you were like, oh, why do you even care?
Yeah.
I was like, I do. You're just going to have to trust that I do care about you, and you make reaching goals and doing something good for yourself. And I think that it's going to be hard. It's going to be a blur, but when you're going to close on this property, it's something you need to take time and be really proud of yourself, bro.
Yeah, it's been a long journey, especially in the circumstances that, the cards that I had been dealt seemed very unlikely,
Yeah.
But you
statistically very improbable, but, we made it happen. And no one can take that away from me. I did it on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
statistically not probable that you're also you're 250 right?
And
still looking to get bigger.
Grow.
Yeah.
But you did it, man.
Yeah.
You did it. And you did it by hard work and believing in yourself, and I'm proud of you for doing that.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Right.
Well, Nuborrow's a great place. We have a good family here. It's a good ecosystem, and it's unlikely without a solid foundation that you can make things like that even happen. Right.
Yeah. Well, good luck on the close, and thanks for joining us today, buddy.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Marshy.
you. All right.
Bye.